Jake Sully, if you wish to go and get this alien pussy, you must buy the DLC for the alien pussy. Only $23.99. Actually, no, they didn't sound like that at all. But like, it didn't sound.
Why was he Jamaican?
No, he was from the tribes from Uganda. I mean, space Uganda.
We must get to the alien planet. Do you know the way?
Can you imagine if like space Uganda, it's just like guys who speak in a like, let's say like Ugandan accent, but then they just go boop at the end.
Boop.
You have to go and find the tree, boop.
Do not knock down the nimble tree.
Boop.
Oh my god. Fucking.
It's a Wednesday.
You must, if you want that cosmic space pussy. If you want that blue, then you must become one of them. We know the way to do that. Imagine how much, like, you know, lower received that movie would have been if James Cameron was just like, yeah, we need to make them sound foreign. What reminds me of aliens?
No, foreign would be one
Illegal aliens. Oh.
Foreign would be one thing, but having them sound like Wagundi Gabubu, like from Uganda, is like another thing entirely.
Mambo from fucking like Banjo Kazooie.
Why did he have like
go hot?
Mambo was definitely Mambo was a little racist, wasn't he? He like had...
It would have been a more entertaining movie if they spoke like that the whole time. I would have loved to hear Sam Worthington's fucking like banjo impression.
I would have loved I would have loved to hear like the army guys like fucking like banjo sounds. It's like and like in the text is just, how does it feel to betray your race, Jake? I have to admit,
everybody welcome.
I have to admit one thing before we introduce everything. There's some lines in that movie that are so great out of context. Because that whole scene when like Commander Army General Colonel man you know, like has like that one-on-one with Jake, and he's just like, how does it feel? Soolie. He's like, how does it feel to betray your entire race? And then right before like the scene cuts, it's when fucking Jake's about to hiss at him, and I'm like, oh my god, this guy's such a like this movie. The more I think about it, honestly, I don't have anything against alien natives. Like, I'm gonna be real. Like, at least in that movie, I had nothing against them, but I don't know. There was like, I was more so just because like I was on the side of the army guys, just because at least if like, cause like apparently there's like a lot of lore behind the movie. Like they like released a ton of shit about it, and then
it's canon with Titanic, dude. I mean,
true.
It goes back, man. That's like Titanic's like the OG. Like when Leo DiCaprio sunk, like he started the I'm the blue people, and yeah, like because that's what happened. Or he woke up on the beach in Inception. One or both, but that's not a James Cameron movie. So.
But the whole reason, like, you know, we even knew it in the beginning of the movie. Like the whole reason why that they were there was because like, oh, we need to like, you know, we need to find this rock that'll help save our planet. It was just like the motivation was pretty clear cut. It's like, we need to find this rock. It's under your tree. Let us go beneath the tree and get this rock. But here's the thing. These fucking aliens just had to get so uppity. It's like, oh no, we can't let you come underneath tree. It is important tree.
Yeah, it's just like I said a few weeks ago, do not knock down the Nimbu tree.
But here's the thing. They were basically saying, we won't knock it down. We just want what's underneath the fucking thing. We don't want to knock it down. But then they started shit, and they're like, you know what? Fuck it. They didn't want to play nice anymore. And look, all I'm saying is that tree was one of a million. I guarantee. It was a fucking planet worth of these fucking trees. You probably could have found another one walking 10 miles out. Honestly, it wasn't that important. And from what we've seen, obviously, of the teaser too, There's tons of these fucking trees. It's not special. You had to start an entire planetary fucking war with these uppity fucking, like, you know, humans who obviously, you know, they were a bit uppity because, like, they came into your fucking hood and was just like, hey, yo, this tree's ours now. And we're going to burn it down because we can. But it's like, dude, before they were just asking, yo, can we just slide underneath that fucking tree and just grab them rocks and we'll get the fuck out of here? But they had to be like, no. You know, go under tree. That would be like taking trees' virginity or something. Like, you can't do it. You can't do it.
We believe that every third tree make the plant grow bigger.
Like,
I can safely say that. I mean, trust me, like with my impression of that movie as well, because I totally agree with you. I can safely say that I am a racist now. I hate blue people. After watching Avatar, I could say that. I have a full bias against blue people now. Fuck them. I hate those assholes ruining this country with their fucking negligence, offering nothing besides their tasty fruit that I spread on my toast every fucking morning. Fuck, I don't care. You know, I don't care. You know, can provide us the electricity that we need to, you know, run the Double D Experience, which is the podcast you're listening to, by the way. Welcome.
Welcome, Jake Soolie. If you're
welcome, Jake Soolie. Fuck it, hey, why are we talking about Avatar again? God damn it.
Was there
Go
an
see Avatar 2, the future best movie. There was.
It was?
Yeah,
of course there was. Was it like a PS2 game or something? Oh, no, it was probably PS3, I think.
Avatar.
Because that was around that era, I think. Yeah.
James Cameron's Avatar, the game. It was made by Ubisoft. This was on the PS3.
Was it Avatar's Creed or something? Like, what the fuck?
No, it was literally just called James Cameron's Avatar, the game.
You like free run through the trees and shit and just assassinate army guys with your fucking spear.
I mean, I guess. I don't know. Let me take a...
Good lord.
All I'm getting are trailers from... Oh, wait, what the There's a new one?
A new what?
A new Avatar game.
Another one?
Yeah, it's called Frontiers of Pandora. It says first look trailer coming 2022, PS5, Xbox X.
I will say one thing.
What the hell?
If it is an open world, I would actually be kind of down. Just a little bit. Just because at least I will, like, I said it before too, like that whole, like just the visuals of that movie. I'm doing a 2 thumbs up right now. Like, it was pretty fucking good.
Hold up. Peggy 16.
Let me see. New.
What the fuck?
Avatar.
Oh, little weird hybrid thing. Oh, the blue people. Oh my god.
And of course, Ubisoft.
Hold up. Any gameplay at all, or just like fancy visuals? Gameplay, fancy visuals. All I'm seeing are fancy visuals.
It looks good.
Guys, creature.
I don't know, Nintoonist, if you want to just like throw up like some of them pictures that we see on the site up, just to like at least show like kind of what we're looking at.
Oh, I don't want to do that, but
okay, fine.
It looks okay. That thing's mouth is also its nose.
Ew. Kind of like an elephant.
I feel like that's just like the standard formula for making fantasy creature. Combine body part with another body part.
You want to know something? All these animals look like they were made in Spore. They look like some guy just took a randomizer in Spore and just like ran it through and just like, okay, that is a new Avatar creature. That is an Avatar creature. This looks way too close to an actual elephant. Nope, we kind of scrap that. Just go down the list. We're just gonna keep going down. Okay, that works. That works. That works. Nope. Works. Nope. Works. Nope. And they just kind of went like, okay, these, like that graphics artist was just like, this is the wildlife of Pandora, and it's just. Look, the most effortless fucking thing ever. Because, like, they just went through Spore and just made shit. And it was just like, yep.
Well, you know that's how they make Pokemon, right? They just smack their forehead against the keyboard as hard as they possibly can and just add vowels in between.
David, don't ruin my immersion. Do not ruin my immersion.
Oh, I'm sorry. Am I fucking up your Avatar immersion? Did I make your experience?
You're also ruining my Pokemon immersion.
Oh, okay.
I identify as... Actually, no, I'm not going to say that. I identify as a 10-year-old who goes out into the fucking wild by himself.
Sometimes you're supposed to for, like, you know, a little bit. You know, that's what Mario Odyssey brought out in me. You know, the 10-year-old kid in me.
Yo, the range.
Oh wow, army dude got shot by arrow in neck. Let's go, bad army juju. Let's go, fuck white people.
Yo,
Yes.
This movie made me like love imperialism. No,
Same. It brought out my inner whiteness even more. All right, sick trailer. Absolutely zero gameplay. Nice, nice. It says it's coming out this year, but absolutely zero gameplay. Let's go.
It looks okay. It looks okay.
This
is probably going to be an open world game. I guarantee it.
It's not going to be as good until the DLC comes out.
Yeah, probably. It's like, all the Assassin's Creed games, which, like, I was a fan of before. I'll be real.
I am Ezio Soolie. Ezio Auditore Soolie.
Like all the other Pandorans, like, what the fuck is up with him? He's like, oh, he played this Earth game like a while back, and he got really into it. Like,
dude, it's so funny. Do you know Poker Night? I've talked to you about Poker Night at the Inventory, right?
Yeah.
I've talked to you about that game. In the second one, in Poker Night 2, one of the competitors is Claptrap from Borderlands.
Okay.
Like the little comedy robot from Borderlands. It was literally voted like best new character of that year, or like the year afterwards, or something like that, because of how just fucking funny he was. And apparently, in Borderlands, like the world or the planet that it's on, it's called Pandora. As is the planet that, the Nimbu tree in fucking Avatar.
Of the James Cameron cinematic universe. Like,
and it's so funny because they were shitting on Claptrap for it in the game because Borderlands came first.
Okay.
Borderlands was in 2007. Avatar didn't come out until 2 years later. So, oh my god. So they're talking about just... I gotta find that fucking clip right now. Hold on. I need to find that clip right now. Hold on a second.
Dude, ain't it some shit though? Like going into another person's planet and just being like, "Hey, yo, you see that tree? That's our tree. You can't touch that tree.
You cannot touch that tree." And unfortunately, there's no subtitles, but I'll send you this really old video of it real quick.
Okay.
Like Ash is just talking to him. It's like, what's that substance that you're having a hard time finding on Pandora? But fucking can't get it,
Was it like unobtainium or some shit like that? Yeah. Some like real like Marvel sounding ass like element name. It's you might have as well just said like if they just replaced the unobtainium. Replace the whole word with Infinity Stone, it would have made just as much sense, honestly. It's like, no, Jake, we need to get the Infinity Stones that are underneath that tree. It's like, it would have made just as much sense. Like, it's just a fucking MacGuffin type of shit in the writing. That's all it is, really. We have to get this thing because, obviously this is what we're here for, and if we don't get it, the planet's gonna die. So I guess also, Jake is a fucking murderer because he prevented these guys from getting this thing that they needed to save the human race. The army guy, what he said was honestly true. He was the biggest fucking traitor of his entire race.
Exactly, and they expected you to just side with him because they expected you to just love the Nimbu tree for like no reason.
His entire fucking race. And then
I get
and people even say, there's like trillions of planets out there in the universe. Surely they could find like another one that'll have this shitty like MacGuffin rock that they need to save their planet. But it's like, but they were there for a fucking reason. They didn't pour all those resources just to be like, oh, okay, all right, and then just go home.
Like, I feel like if that happened in real life, like, like people like us just wouldn't care. Would be like, if it's like for the survival or whatever. I get if it's not really for the survival and it's like some bullshit like human excuse. It's like, oh, we just want money. Like the whole notion is that it's supposed to be like it's really about like how we can profit off of this, give it to like the energy of the oil companies or whatever, and it's about how manifest destiny is wrong. Like I could sort of understand that. But if it literally was the case of life or death, which I don't remember because I don't remember that fucking movie, then can we just borrow a little bit of the can't get it up a top of like sloppy toppy-tanium? Like, can we just please, like, get a little bit of that so we can save our human race? Like, you guys clearly aren't fucking using it. You guys don't get NBC. You don't watch Fallon. You don't need the energy to fucking get, which, first of all, why are you watching Fallon? That really goes to show how unevolved you are as a species. And dumb. Can we just get a little bit of that shit? The point is, they were shitting on Claptrap for it because they were just like, okay, I have one last question before you get too annoyed. Is that what? What's James Cameron really like? Clap's just like, fuck you. Like, the whole time, it's so funny. It's just like, our Pandora came first. Okay? They ripped off of us. But, like, no one believes it because it's Avatar and it's a fucking movie made like $1 billion.
It's also, like, really one of the most, like, just recognizable, like, fantasy names. Like
Pandora?
Yeah,
it's
Pandora,
pretty basic.
Pandora's box and everything. It just sounds like, it just rolls off the tongue well enough that everyone's just kind of like, oh, like, I don't know. If you ever, I don't know, would you ever name your daughter this? Because it's like, this is named after, like, would be named after the bitch who got told, don't open the box, and then opened the box. And then all the bad shit of the world all came out of that fucking box, and then people will love to say, like, I don't know, maybe there's like this new wave of defenders of Pandora, but dude, I would have basically like put her ass through a stake and killed her if we knew what she had done, because it's a wonder she wasn't just hang drawn and quartered for what she had done. Honestly,
dude,
all the worst shit in the world all came out of that fucking box, and people told you fucking repeatedly, yo bitch, don't touch the box. And she wouldn't touch the box anyway.
Dude, I was just listening to that, and like after the can't get idiom line in fucking poker night, Brock like interrupts. He's just like, no, I think it's called MacGuffin night. Like, I never understood those jokes until now. Oh my god, that shit's so fucking funny.
I mean, you know, MacGuffin's like a real term, right? That writers use. But like, everyone always just. The first time I heard it, I honestly thought like, oh, is that just like a made up word that they just made just for like, you know, just because of the context? But then I actually looked it up. No, it's like it's an actual fucking word, and I'm not even a writer like in that way. But it's just kind of like I didn't even know it was a real fucking term at first. But.
What's the DLC for the Avatar game going to be like, Dennis?
Sex scenes DLC. Tail sex. Yo, but you know, to be fair,
why might they actually do that though?
Horny nerds will buy that.
Yeah.
Honestly. Like, I can't tell you how many, like, you know, even anime games that I play where the DLC that comes afterwards is just the female characters in skimpier outfits, and it's like $5. And you know what's really funny? You know how
Isn't
even
there a
DLC
thing in like RE3 where you can make Jill like literally fucking naked?
Yes, but at the same time, like, you know how like basically DLC also have like reviews as well, like same as like the actual base game. Like it goes from obviously mostly negative to overly positive. Mm-hmm. Like all those DLCs are all mostly positive.
Yeah.
And everyone's fucking reviews are all just, this is what I bought the base game for.
Okay, yeah. That's what you bought that shit for? At least in Mario Odyssey, which had DLC afterwards, the real DLC was after the fucking credits rolled. Because that's when the game actually begins because of how much other shit there was to do. Like, it's for Nintendo's core titles that they at least stay true to, like, their whole notion of Miyamoto saying, you know, selling half a game is bad. Selling a full game is bad. Video games are bad. I hate my job. Fuck my life. Now, the whole actual quote that he said were like, you know, a rushed game is forever bad, but like a delayed game, you know, is forever good, all that stuff. And for Nintendo's core titles, they're usually good with that. But now they do release DLC and stuff. And for their mobile departments, oh fuck, Diddy Kong and Mario Kart Tour costed $30 fucking dollars. I'm not kidding. For a character in a fucking game.
$30?
Yeah, for like, you know, those like grab box things. Like, you know, it had microtransactions and stuff and in-game currency that you could buy characters with and stuff. It's horrible. And for Nintendo, for their core titles, they release DLC now, but it's usually not that bad. But Nintendo, they're pretty much on that fucking train now.
Oh, yeah.
They do that fully. And it's still not as bad as other companies or whatever, like, you know, like Activision Blizzard or whatever, where the DLC will cost the grand total of the actual game that you played more often.
Or
and, like,
even,
sneaky
like,
microtransactions and shit like that.
I've also been playing, like, World of Warcraft just a little bit for the last, like, month. And I didn't realize, too, like, how predatory. Like, I mean, not really predatory, because it's like they have an online shop that you use real currency to get, like, like, mounts and accessories and shit like that. And, like, it is honestly hilarious though, seeing how some of these pixels are worth more than the subscription that you pay to play the game, which is $15. Like a fucking pixel that looks like a horse is worth more than what you pay to play the game. And
it's the Nimbu horse, dude.
yeah, like, you know, the exclusive horse that you can't get anywhere else except the cash shop because we want your real money. On top of the fact that you're already paying monthly to play this game. And, you know, it's like, I mean, I haven't really played, obviously, too many MMOs to kind of, like, really go into this, like, deep. But I think MMOs really just also share, like, the same sort of, like, kind of trend that even, maybe, like, I even just think all of the games kind of share, too, in that, like, in this current day and age, and just because of also, like, how much, like, not production, but I guess, like, developing games and the costs of it have scaled up so high since like the last, like, let's say what, like 15 years or whatever. Like it costs a lot of fucking money to make, let's say, even just, I guess, going off of like just generalizing like a AAA title. And like these companies also need to not only shell out a lot of money, they need to make that money back and then some as well, because of the fact that most, like, I think companies nowadays, they live and die of not just their initial sales, but then after that, their fucking like post game content that they like
part
sell
of the
after.
Model now. Like, it's
yeah,
just
that's
part of, like,
all
the
part of the
business
model
now. Yeah, because I'd be like, you know, we have to add these on to like our shareholders who have never touched a video game in their fucking lives. You know, expect a little bit more at this point. So that's how we have to. That's how we have to be able to get it for them at this stage in the game, and that's why these sort of things exist, and why Square Enix put NFTs in their game, even though NFT value go, and among many other things. It's nothing new. You know, it's nothing new, unfortunately. But the DLC cycle, as you're talking about, ain't the only aspect of it. I mean, if you don't have anything else to say about that, there's also alpha builds and whatnot.
Early access and stuff like that.
And a lot of games do that now.
Yeah.
And that is a practice that I also think is shitty.
Yeah, it's because it's, I don't know, I'm on the little middle ground of it because I'm playing a game currently. It's called it's Dune Spice Wars. So obviously, if anyone's ever heard of Dune, like the series, like thing, it takes place in the Dune universe, and you know, you play as any of the four houses and stuff like that. And it's an early access game that came out like I think like a month or two ago, and I bought it like the shill that I am, because like there is no like good Dune games out there, and at the very least, I knew it was an early access game going into it. They were very like the developers were pretty like honest about it and very transparent with like, yeah, this is not this is not what the finished product looks like. This is not by any means. And they're like constantly patching it and everything and all that, and like they're taking feedback from players and all that, and like it's a bought alpha essentially that is going to turn into a beta, and then after that it'll turn into like the finished product. But as of right now, at least, like from
like a Pokemon.
Yeah, it evolves, you know?
It evolves.
Yeah, and like it takes time and money to evolve. That's what you need. It's basically
oh Pika.
So but currently, wait, David.
Sorry.
Currently, right now, at least with the game how it is, it's pretty good. It's playable. It's fun. But
yeah,
like that's the thing though. Like when it comes to like, you know, people buying early access games, like there is like a range of them that you would not believe. Where it's like, oh, this is pretty fun and it's pretty playable. Like, you know, you could like invite some friends over and shit. Like you could still play this. And then there's the other where they give you a not even refined turd to play that is worth $30. So like that's why, like, at least for me, like I've had my taste of shitty early access games, and then I've had my share of pretty good ones that turned out to be pretty great. Like Valheim, when that came out, that was early access too. That wasn't finished. That didn't finish that didn't go into 1.0 until a couple months after they released it from early access. And that game blew the fuck up, you know, because everyone and their mothers were fucking playing it for a while. A lot of people aren't now, but like every now and then, like, I still see people like kind of streaming it and like they're playing it as well. Like, it's a fun game. Why not? So, and that game was like had a lot to do on release. Like, there was a lot to do. Like, it being like a survival game, you're like a dead Viking in the afterlife, and just going around surviving and stuff like that. And everyone could pick it up too, because it wasn't even that much of a taxing game to begin with as well. So
that's the thing, though, man. Like, I feel like you should only like go that route if you're planning on making massive changes and your game is nowhere near. I don't know. It's such a weird middle ground, like you said, because it depends. Like, if you're gonna charge for your early alpha or for your beta, nah, fuck you. Like, that's the shit that I fucking hate. Like, do not fucking charge money for your fucking unfinished game. That's that actual, like, predatory shit. Because there are companies and there are a lot of amazing indie developers out there. This is not to dog on independent developers, but there are some shitty ones who do that and release an unfinished fucking game, charge money for it, then they dip if they make enough of what they make for it and they don't finish it. Take Poppy Playtime, for instance. That's a horror. It's like one of those fitting child horror games that sort of came out last year, and then like the second part of the game, like chapter 2 or whatever, just came out about a week or two ago, actually. It's something to garner like the Five Nights at Freddy's fans, and the game had a lot of potential. It has an amazing chase sequence in it, this horrifying like giant child toy thing, like chasing you like throughout like an abandoned like toy factory in like the middle of the night. Really, genuinely a lot of potential in that game. Very scary. They released the first chapter of the game, which is basically just one giant level, and then immediately they started selling NFTs of the game. They started going with merch. I'm just gonna say the game was not done
by any means, because
they didn't release the whole thing.
Yeah,
you're selling merch
already. That's the thing. Like, it'd be
and
one
NFTs,
thing,
no less.
It'd be one thing too if like minus the NFTs, when it comes to just straight up merch, it's like, oh, if the game's been out and you've been adding content in it for like let's say a good year and a half. Like, let's say for this case in Poppy Playtime, like they let's say went up to chapter 5 already, right?
Yeah.
I think that's like already deep enough into the fucking product's life cycle that then you could sell official merch. You could sell your shitty t-shirts. You could sell like, whatever the fuck you want, I guess. But like, and that's the thing though too. I even believe that ever since like some people kind of saw like how big like indie games had gotten, like considering like, can't really name off the top of my head like some names, but it's like some games that like were literally made by Among Us, even Stardew Valley. That was made by one guy. And
Coophead Celeste. Well, not one person. But
but it was like, a couple guys.
Very small team. Yeah. Like,
and, those games blew up. And, I don't know if those developers now are like multimillionaires or anything, but like, I like to think at least like, they obviously had like a big ass payday. And after that, they obviously like, were pretty comfortable. Like afterwards, like they made their money and then some.
For fucking, blowing up those games for them and shit, because that's how that shit even gets popular in the first place. That's what happened for fucking Five Nights at Freddy's. That's literally what happened to Five Nights at Freddy's. That game was fucking... He started giving Markiplier and like all those YouTubers early access to promote the game even earlier. Without them, Five Nights at Freddy's would not have blown up.
And that's why I'm also kind of wanting to go into like how like just how we even said like how some games like live and die based on like, let's say, the sales that they generate plus even post game afterwards, like post launch. Yeah. Streamers and also like celebrities like such as even like like streamers and YouTube content creators and everything, they are also like obviously like the other point of like revenue for them, in that like the exposure that they give to the game obviously will generate people's desire or like even just interest to go and try the game out themselves, because like, oh, like, Markiplier's playing it, I like Markiplier, and I want to play the game that he's playing. And it's not really that, it's not like rocket science or anything. I'm not trying to be out here thinking that like I'm a fucking expert on this shit, but like,
but it is a new thing,
But it's also, but you also can't break it down any more than that, really. It's just like they like, because it was the same for when we were kids, honestly. Like, like remember how we wanted the latest toy? because we saw it like on TV and we saw like another kid playing it like, on a commercial or whatever, or, whichever, whatever. Like, and like that desire like just came up in us, and like we wanted to do the same thing. Like, I want that toy. I want that game. And like, that's like the sort of power, I guess, obviously, like, the like celebrities like that like have, because it's like, they generate desire / want / like, I want to buy that, like, sort of kind of feeling. And that's why I even feel like I don't know, like I feel kind of bad and / not for certain game developers / companies, because of the fact that, like, especially if you're an indie dev or indie devs, you may just straight up live and die depending on, like, I mean, I wouldn't say that like exposure like that is like what's gonna make or break, let's say, your product, or even, let's say, like your little fledgling company, but it's like them getting that exposure could skyrocket them. And it was the same for like when Fall Guys came out, like before obviously Among Us, everyone was talking about that game for like a couple months. Like, everyone couldn't shut the fuck up about it. It was getting obnoxious at one point, because considering how many people I saw on YouTube and even Twitch like playing it. And then after month 6 post that game's launch, Among Us happened, and then nobody gave a fuck about Fall Guys afterwards. And I mean, Fall Guys, I don't know what their player base count is, and David obviously told me this too, and I looked into it.
They just went free to play.
Yeah.
Very recently they announced they're going free to play, which means
did they?
it's probably not that good. And because since they're going to free to play, which a lot of people feel the game should have been in the first place. And let me talk about that exposure for a second, my friend, because like, you're mentioning how like,
that was my point, at least.
The medium is the message. How you're receiving it, the medium is the message. Right now, you're listening to a podcast, you're hearing it through audio, you're hearing these omnipotent, sexy voices in each of your ears right now talking about DLCs and video games right now, and you're probably masturbating furiously. I get that. But if there are visuals of us, which currently on the show there are not, you don't get to see our actual faces and stuff, which can sort of impact the experience a little bit. You can sort of hear our emotions in our voice, and podcasts, it's not a one-to-one comparison because you can hear how we sound, but, it's not the same thing as actually visibly seeing somebody. There are some subtle differences here and there, not like big differences between radio, TV, internet, whatever, but it's still the same thing. You watch the big YouTuber play it, I like this person, you hear about the thing. Obviously, I heard about Five Nights at Freddy's through fucking Markiplier, and then I did my own shitty little Let's Plays of it like very many years ago, trying to do something like that. Yeah, so, that is just a different way for these people to get that kind of exposure, and it's important to note what's the best way to actually get that. It's kind of like what we do as far as like content creation, as far as like, trying to make sweet love to the algorithm, and just hope that something sticks. Because there's a lot of fucking indie games out there. A lot. And you might think, the best ways to really get like your comeuppance with that is to get big companies like Nintendo on your side, who has entire indie developer showcases. They have Nintendo Directs specifically for indie games.
That is true.
I want you to tell me how many of the indie games that they have released in those developer showcases have blown up on the spot of, Cuphead and Among Us and Fall Guys and all that stuff. I want you to tell me. I want you to go in those indie showcases. Tell me how many of those games you played.
Let's also flip the question. Like, how many of those games, to you, are 20 to 30 people who watch us, how many of you actually have looked at those games and said, oh, I want to play that? Honestly. Like, in your heart of hearts, was there ever... Okay, maybe David. Like, David rose his hand. He's the
one... But that doesn't mean I did.
No,
that
that's
doesn't
the thing.
mean I ever did.
But that's the thing. Like, it's... Maybe that even just kind of goes back to maybe Nintendo's not doing enough to, like, drive people to go and, like, buy these games. Because, and here's the thing for me. I still prefer getting physical copies. Because I remember there was this whole debate from someone who, like, because there was that whole spat with Xbox that this guy once had. Like, I don't remember his name. I think it was like a kind of a spat that everyone kind of had with Xbox, and that, like, Xbox basically says that, oh, even if you, let's say, bought the game on their digital store or whatever, you don't technically own the game. But I paid money to buy the game. But you're saying I don't own the game. And it's for that reason that, like, at this point, even now, like, I don't know, like, I still hope, like, digital copies won't become, like, the new norm. I still prefer physical copies to begin with. Like,
really?
I like to hold the fucking thing in my hand. And I'll even say this. Game cartridges were the better, let's say, physical form of the game than nowadays, because obviously everything is on a disc now. And then, for Nintendo Switch, we have the little shitty little SD cards that we jam into our fucking Switch. But cartridges were like my shit, man. And I still wish, like, all games, maybe not computer games, obviously, because it'd be funny to just jam in, like, like, I don't know, like StarCraft into your fucking computer with a cartridge slot.
Somebody make a StarCraft N64 cartridge.
Like, that shit would probably catch on fire, considering like how much like shit like push it, like how much like
you don't even downgrade it.
Exactly.
Downgrade it for it to work on the N64. Like, no, this is actually just StarCraft. Like, full ray tracing. Fucking like
anti-aliasing. It's just everything, bro. Like your 3080
N64 cartridge. You just like click it in the fucking 64.
But that's why I'm saying
fucking catches fire.
That's why I'm saying though, like, Nintendo, like, still, like, it's the one little point in their entire history that, like, I still kind of like love them for, and that, like, they didn't go into that disc route like how the Wii U and the Wii were. Like, I loved that they at least brought the whole cartridge thing back in some form, but
everyone
they also
was hyped for cartridges, yeah.
But that's why, like, I also knew they weren't gonna like fucking go the unga bunga, like, oh, look at this gigantic N64 cartridge, we're just gonna jam into our Switch. And I, like, I knew that obviously they gotta have to like slim it down.
The games back then were literally the size of the Switch now.
They were the size of fucking my wallet, honestly. That's like nuts to think about.
And they only got smaller as those things went on, because you remember the NES and the SNES cartridges, of course. Those were even bigger than the N64 cartridges.
But the satisfaction of like just putting it in there, like, it's so much better than just putting your fucking CD in. And obviously, for even our computers, we don't even use CDs anymore. Like the towers that, let's say, if you were going to try to like buy or buy parts to build like a custom PC,
you see a disk drive inside this bitch?
Yeah, exactly. Like,
do you see over there?
Maybe previous over there. Case?
Maybe down there? No.
Like, David, my previous case still has like those racks at the top where you put your CD-ROM drive and everything.
Mine has a disk drive in it too. Yeah, I installed a disk drive.
And I was like thinking in my head, like, if I was just like retardedly like decent at like like welding or some shit, like, I would have soldered off that entire fucking thing and would have kept that case. But I'm not that good, and I was worried that maybe I might break this fucking thing, so I was like, fuck it, I'll just buy another case. So
should have used a chainsaw.
I was probably gonna get a bandsaw and just go like wear goggles and everything. I probably wouldn't even wear goggles. I probably think, my glasses will be fine, and then like just like that wood will just jam right into my fucking eye. Like, it's just like, God forbid. But
stand back, I am a dipshit. Am I dead?
It's like right up to your fucking jaw from there.
Am I dead? Am I dead?
And going
Can
back,
I play Among Us now?
going back to Nintendo real quick, and even I guess just like it's for that reason. I know we give shit to Nintendo a lot, but say what you want, I don't think any time in their last maybe 5 years have their big like kind of big titles have sucked at launch. And it's like, here's the thing though too, what we got usually of those games, like right after release, like, the content in it, you couldn't ask for more, honestly, considering also like what even Breath of the Wild like brought, like literal hundreds of fucking hours of killing wildlife and getting apples or sticks or even just cooking. Like, there was so much shit that you could have done in the game. And people took their enjoyment out of Breath of the Wild the same way that they took their enjoyment out of Animal Crossing. Animal Crossing is nothing but fucking menial tasks in that game. But people love to do it anyways. So, like, you know, it's... Like, what we got... And especially, like, the... because I even heard from my sister, like, when Animal Crossing for the Switch, I forgot the New Horizons, I think, or whatever.
Yes.
When that came out, the developers even said that the game wasn't finished. That they had released it unfinished. And there was just more and more shit that they were releasing like over the last couple years. And obviously
That's
they just
different though,
but,
man.
But the thing is, they even just added cooking too. Which I thought that was something though. That was something that they had never put into another Animal Crossing game.
Wait, cooking what?
Food. Like just cooking in general.
I'm not gonna lie. I would have bought a copy of New Horizons for me and you if we could have played Breaking Bad. In New Horizons, if we could have roleplayed like Breaking Bad, I would have made a video on that and everything. It would have been like, oh, god damn it, Jesse. We need to get the cooking.
We have a sit down with Tom Nook. Tom Nook's like the Gustavo Fring of like the fucking like of the town and shit. And you know, like it's like those scenes like, you know, we've seen in Breaking Bad where it was like the cousins and the Salamancas with Hector and with Jesse and Gus and everyone on the other side. It's like that's how it was like, and that I it would be actually pretty great. But when like
Mr. White, yeah, when we gotta come to my island. God damn it, Jesse. The island's not secret enough.
It's just like, oh my god, can you imagine if like they had, because like, you know, Animal Crossing has decorations that you could like put up. Can you imagine if like the fucking Winnebago was like a decoration in that game? It's just like you just place it in the middle of nowhere on the island, and it's just, and you see like the smoke coming out of it too and everything. It's just like, oh my god, that'd be great. Like, you know, Animal Crossing developers, I know you probably don't watch this, but it's just like if you threw that in there, I would love you forever.
Let us do Breaking Bad and Animal Crossing, you fucking cowards.
I want like a yellow hazmat costume as well for my character.
Let's get like the tint. Can we get like that screen tint to have like New Mexico be as deeply yellow as I'm sure it is? Oh, god.
I want to, dude. I want to just say something about like about that. Why do people like? Why is that a trend? Why is it every time like a movie or a show goes to Mexico, it's like this disgusting orange fucking tone that like they always put over it when it's like, you know, like I kind of want to just go to Mexico once. And I also kind of don't, because it's probably I heard it's one of the most dangerous fucking places in the world.
I mean, it's pretty much ran, depending on what part of Mexico you're in, it's pretty much ran by the cartels.
Yeah. So, like, you know, Tijuana and, like, a bunch of other places, like, you know, obviously, like, even though Tijuana is, like, pretty close to the fucking U.S. border, it's still considered one of the most dangerous cities in the world.
Well, Dennis, the reason that they do that is because Mexico is actually yellow. Have you been there?
No. That's what I'm saying.
I went on vacation there once. Everything is yellow. Like the atmosphere, the food, the people, believe it or not, they're yellow, man. Like it's like you ever see like those like photos and stuff of like old like, you know, movies and stuff like that, how it's black and white. Like, dude, that's just what the world looked like back then. Like, you ever see, like, those, like, digital touch-ups of, like, Turner Classic Movies and stuff where they take a movie that was, like, inherently filmed in black and white and was never even filmed in color and they try to artificially, like, make it bright? You know how those always look so shitty for the most part? That's because the world was black and white back then. That was just how things looked. Everybody pretty much had, like, the purview of a dog, and it wasn't really until the 1970s when, just as it was foretold in the scriptures, the almighty Technicolor came into the picture. And colored up the world in the beautiful way that we know now.
And then Mexico just got the short end of the stick and was just like, they asked
as it usually does.
Yeah. They went up to Technicolor and said, "Hey, can we like get a color for our country?
Can we get a color, man?"
And then they gave like, it's like, "Oh, sorry, we only have yellow." It's like,
look at the amarillo.
It's like, we take it. Oh, no, that's not even a fucking Mexican act. Dude, I swear to God, the two Mexicans listening to this probably will want to kill us themselves.
Probably, yeah. Point is, I don't know why they do that. It's supposed to make it look like, you know, a very uncomfortable environment to be in. Like, oh, it's so hot. It's so hot and gritty or whatever.
Dude, go to Arizona. It is painfully red out there.
Yeah.
The fucking landscape itself makes me want to die. considering like what kind of state Arizona is.
Oh yeah.
And then right after that we have good old Nevada with 4 towns that nobody gives a fuck about, and then Vegas. Like no one could give us a fuck about those other towns in Nevada. And then maybe other people from those towns in Nevada probably like it that way because like I don't want people coming here. I don't even like the people here. Like, I don't even like my neighbors across from me. My fucking neighbor's a fucking iguana. Probably.
I've named him Emil.
I named him Nacho.
Nacho.
But yeah, like, but minus out of. Hold up, David. You didn't even hold it that long. You killed it. Like, minus, obviously Nintendo. I don't really see, like, people's, like, obviously just going back to the trend real quick. Like, yeah, people, like, at least game devs and companies, like, they don't, like, build, as far as the base product. Like, here's the thing. I'm not against DLC if the DLC is stuff that I don't need to get the full fucking game. You feel me? Like, when it comes to at least, like, story shit and stuff like that, it's like, if I have to pay... Like, can you imagine if Last of Us... I mean, I think The Last of Us kind of did, didn't they? Like, they had, like, story DLC? Like, for after the post-game and shit? I'm pretty sure. I'm not...
What game?
Last of Us 2? Last of Us?
Oh, I don't know. I never played that fucking failed movie script.
But... Like, for games like that, it's like, if I need... Like, it's the reason why I even don't like the Telltale games. Because it's like, oh, you bought chapters 1 through 4. Now for 5 through 6, and they don't even give, like, the same number as they did with the base game. You want chapters 5 and 6. That'll be $10 from your mother's credit card.
It's like, here's the thing. Releasing public alpha builds and like beta builds and beta males and beta cucks and all these different things, it's like it's hit or miss. And the reason it is hit, these are like sort of like, I'm not saying we can end the topic here, but like my sort of overarching thoughts about this is that it literally depends on the practice and on the company. Nintendo will never in their fucking history of life, not now, nor in the future, ever release a fucking alpha build or a beta build for a game. Like, their games are done. They go into studios and literally say, this shit sucks to their fucking faces to make sure they don't release something that is garbage or does not really receive the Nintendo seal of quality that they like to really promote for their first-party games. That's what happened to Metroid Prime 4. That's what happened to... we think that's what happened to Breath of the Wild 2, when what actually happened is that, it's not going to get Game of the Year because of Elden Ring, and so they delayed it, just as they did the Mario movie. Anyway, point is, you'll never, ever, 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 ever see Nintendo do that. That's part of why they're, like, sort of the antithesis of gaming companies now, even though they're one of the OGs. Then you have some indie developers like Poppy Playtime who release, like, one chapter of their game and then immediately start selling merch, specifically NFTs. And they at least released the second chapter of the game. It took them a while, so I guess they're not gone. They could have dipped with, like, whatever the money they made for that, because I'm pretty sure that the first chapter of Poppy Playtime was not free. I'm pretty damn sure you had to pay for it, if I'm not mistaken. Is it free now?
Yeah, the first chapter is free, but the chapter 2 is $10. That's what I'm looking at right now.
I'm going to go ahead and assume that the first chapter was $10 or whatever when it dropped. Because I don't know, it just seems like, they wouldn't have blown up in the way that they did otherwise. I could be wrong about that, but, it all depends on the context, and it depends on the developers and what they do. Again, very similar to, like, how they, like, search for the algorithm, like, get their Markipliers out there, or try to get on the indie developer showcase for Nintendo, or PewDiePie, to get their game out there. It's the same thing. It just depends on the individual and their own moral fiber. Because there are some who will release, a fucking alpha or a beta build for a game, which they will sell for actual money, an incomplete product. And I'm not talking like incomplete in the sense like, oh, we're gonna add more later, like you mentioned, because I think that's okay. Like, there was one game that you mentioned earlier where, like, the game was pretty much done, just like, some finishing touches here and there, and just more content that they were gonna add later. Again, that's another thing Nintendo does. Like, there were DLC for Mario Odyssey, Breath of the Wild. Valheim, yeah, that too. But then they add more later, so the game wasn't technically done, but they did have a finished game that functioned properly and was a high quality experience before they added more stuff. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about like the shitty developers who release like, you know, like a literal incomplete fucking product.
A real scumbags.
And then force you to pay more for the rest of the product later. And the reason that sucks is imagine you walked into a fucking movie theater, right? Imagine you walked into you already know where I'm going with this. You know this argument. Imagine you walked into a movie theater and they only show half the film. And you have to fucking pay again halfway through the movie to finish watching it. How pissed off on a scale of 10 to Chris Brown would you be? You'd be fucking furious, rightfully so. So why is that an acceptable practice for fucking video games? But it shouldn't be. That's bullshit.
That's also the thing, though, too. Like, I guess, you know, we won't really be going into movies too much, but it's like, you know, the first time I've seen that happen was Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows when that first came out. Because, like, that was part 1 that they released. And then
but there was actually so much material that they needed to cover because of how big that book was. They had to split it into 2 parts.
But my little child ape brain, like, didn't understand, like, how fucking big that book was. And then I actually went to a Borders, I think, you know, back when Borders was still a fucking thing. You know, if anyone remembers what a Borders even looks like, it's a bookstore.
Now them Borders are open now. Borders ain't been a thing since Joe Biden got in the office.
I saw that book.
Yeah. It's a fucking dictionary, right?
It's a fucking thick ass book.
Yeah, like, Deathly Hallows was huge.
Like, it was pretty fucking huge. So I mean, like, that's why at least after that I was just kind of like, all right, okay, fine. Like, you know, I get it. Like, because like it was a fairly big fucking book. Like, you know what I mean? Like, and then you got like, you see like Marvel with the fucking Avengers, and you go from you know Infinity War to Endgame, and I'm just
dude, when the book was thicker than my cock, that's how you know. Like, holy shit. Like, this is a fucking textbook we got going on here.
And guys, we're not even talking about the hardcover. We're talking about the fucking paperback.
Oh yeah, the hardcover was.
I love hardcovers, honestly. I don't know what it is with hardcover. I don't know. Like, it's probably something gay in me that like it's like, oh, I love hardcovers, guys. I love hardcover books. Like a lot of the like history books that I even bought, like were all like hardcover. If I had to get a paperback, it was just because they didn't have it in hardcover. That's like how I kind of bought books, you know.
I like hardcovers better too. You know, it's easier
feel
to
better.
grip.
You know,
it's literally higher quality because like the pages are on like a more sturdy material and whatnot. But
and plus, when you like close the book, it feels so satisfying. Just like slam the cover down. It's like I'm done.
I don't have a book near me.
Kind of like how Shrek like slams the book, you know, when he's in the toilet.
Yeah. That'll never happen.
But
somebody. Yeah, no, it's bullshit.
Yeah. I don't like that practice. Like, it's because it's also just like, but people will buy it though. That's the thing. Big people haven't learned their fucking lesson for the last like 5 guys that have tried this, that like, you know, sold them like, yeah, you know, a unfinished product. They ate that shit up because like, you know, because here's the thing, hype is a very, very useful tool for people like this, because it's like, oh, like especially, you know, trailers. If you can hit all the key points, and if you know, as the formula goes, like how to like get people like real hyped, it's the same for fucking Cyberpunk. When that fucking game like was being like, you know, advertised and shit and everything, the trailers hit all the major points.
It's gonna be the Avatar of games, guys.
Yeah, dude, it's gonna be The Witcher and like in like and everything. Like, and here's the thing.
When we talked about Avatar a few weeks ago, I literally said Cyberpunk 2077 is the fucking Avatar of video games.
Yeah.
It was
no,
in every respect.
Right.
In overhyped, in fucking booty cheeks. I think Avatar is a better product than fucking Cyberpunk.
But that's what I mean, though. Avatar was at least finished.
Yeah.
It was finished. It was, for whatever it was finished, though.
And fucking coherent at the very least.
Yeah. Even though it was
pleasant to look
paste.
at.
It was control C, control V, like to death.
Meanwhile,
from other fucking movies.
Exactly, and meanwhile, you need a fucking like, you know, RTX fucking 5732, and like as well as like an Intel i52 processor, as like with 7 fans inside your computer to run the game at like 45 FPS.
Yeah. And
fucking piece of shit. Like that game ran at 10 frames per second on PlayStation. 10
yeah, I know that's what
fucking frames.
The past gen consoles, like, dude, they got the short end of the stick with that game, and I felt real
it shouldn't have even been released on those.
No,
consoles.
yeah, no, that's what I mean. Like, this thing should have been just straight up next gen. But I know for the fact that they got fucking greedy. And here's the thing though too, CD Projekt Red is also a public company. So I mean, you know, I don't want to just
too aspirational for its own good.
Yeah, and I also don't want to also blame like the board of directors solely, because like, you know, that's also like the devs were also.
No,
like,
I blame the devs for this one.
No, that's
I'm not gonna lie to you. I actually do.
I'm pretty sure maybe it was like half down the road. Like, you know, they probably were going at this like all the time and probably said, no, we're not going to fucking release this on Xbox 360. Are you fucking out of your mind? Like, maybe it wasn't 360, but like, you know, Xbox One by that time was probably a 360 for us, like being
pretty much, yeah,
like PC gamers. So it's like, you know, we can't fucking release this on Xbox and like, you know, PS4 and shit. Like, are you fucking insane? No. Like, and around that time, I think the PS5 was
but people still have Xbox Ones and PS4s.
I know.
And they don't want to buy the new consoles yet. So if we want to sell their game, we gotta put it on the PS5.
I was gonna go into that. Yes, what David said is true. Yeah, that's what their probably main argument was that we want to at least widen that net as much as possible. We want to get, because here's the thing, everyone knew on that team that
the net's fucking broken at the seams.
No, that's what I mean. They knew that this game, this one is not finished. It's fucking dog shit. It was only until recently that the game was actually in a pretty good state. And like the content that they added and everything, but like that took like what, a good year and a half afterwards, after the fact. And like, here's the thing, I still have my copy. Like, I haven't refunded it off of Steam and everything, because like, I don't know, I hate refund processes in my opinion, because like I have to type this shit out about like, you know what, like, oh, you like CD Projekt Red anally raped me when I was sleeping, and it just like ruined my childhood, and I want my money back.
I feel like Gabe Newell would actually believe you if you told him that.
Maybe, but my whole point is that like,
unless you told him they did it 3 times, in which case he would just get very confused. I would just have to cap at like 2, but but like that's the thing. Even with like a game, you know, everyone remembers No Man's Sky, and No Man's Sky like also like is in a pretty good fucking state right now. And like I've played like the new update that they released, and like they added just so, like all the stuff that piece of shit lead dev like promised in all the promotional like stuff and all the interviews is all coming in now. But that's the thing, this game was still cold in the oven by the time of release, is what I'm saying. And the same with Cyberpunk, because like Cyberpunk 2, like, you know, honestly, if like, here's the thing, if they weren't beholden by their shareholders, because I know the shareholders wanted their fucking payday, they wanted like that game to come out and they wanted a cut of that, obviously. Of course.
So that's why, like, you know, they pushed them.
Shareholders
like, you know,
ruin everything. I will say that. I don't think they're the main fault for Cyberpunk, but, you know, they ruin everything by making rushed products. That's the reason why, you know, a lot of the CODs sucked, because Activision, you know.
David is correct. And that's at the same time. Like, it's one of those reasons that I'm pretty sure Gabe is... It'll really depend. Because if he's still... he's still, by the time he's still alive, he will never go public. But I know for a fact that there's probably tons of guys in his you know, posse that probably want to go public. They want to fucking like, you know, just put Valve, like, get an IPO and like, you know, go public. But Gabe, being a gamer first and a businessman second, he obviously doesn't want to do that, because he's also seen, you know, what happens to companies who are beholden by their shareholders. They release shit and then afterwards they get shitted on, and like CD Projekt Red, because dude, CD Projekt Red was #1. Obviously, like I can't really go back to Twitter's like analytics and shit, but I know CD Projekt Red was #1 in trending for a couple of years because of Cyberpunk. Every time that they mentioned that, you know, E3 and everything was coming around, they were always like, you know, #1. Everyone was talking about it. All the YouTubers that I watched too wouldn't shut the fuck up about like CD Projekt Red, and that game wasn't even out yet. There wasn't even a release date yet. Okay. But that's the thing. Like, once it came out, you know, we all know the story. Like, and once it came out, like, their stocks plummeted. They got like just, I think almost a lawsuit was about to be thrown at them because of how many, like, because it was like false advertising, like with the way that they, you know, obviously advertised the game and everything. Yeah. And dude, they like, it was Armageddon for that company for a while. And for me personally, like, you know, I like, you know, going off of No Man's Sky's example, dude, that game took years from the launch to now to get to the state that it's in, because it's a really fun game. But But that's the thing though. Like, you know, it even
takes
like
forever to be good. It's like that would be so unacceptable for anything else.
Yeah, no.
So why is it acceptable for like, dude? I'm reading this right now. Gabe Newell's fucking cock is so huge. This is amazing. Valve is not. You're telling me Valve is Valve a publicly traded company?
No, it's private.
Okay, his net worth is $4 billion. And his company's not publicly traded.
And I guarantee you, his devs and all the guys in his R&D
His company is not publicly traded. He's doing things his own way. He fucking dropped out of Harvard like a
boss.
fucking champion.
Yeah.
And he's one of the wealthiest people in the U.S.
And you also know his team are paid well.
And he's not that old. He's not that old. He's not even 60.
Yeah.
He's 59.
I like how also he treats his employees.
Dude, I had no... Oh my god, this man's fuck... I mean, don't get me wrong. His company treats TF2 like shit now. Like, they don't give a shit about that game anymore, and I love that game to death. But on one hand, I understand it. You know what I mean? I mean, it's still like the third most played game on Steam, which is kind of stupid that they stopped supporting it then, but, you know, whatever. Point is, I don't blame him for that, because they don't be doing any of that bullshit. Again, like... Paying for it early is different. And that's one of the reasons that I don't give a shit right now. I feel like I'm one of the only fucking people on the internet. And I even tweeted this recently, as a matter of fact. I'm gonna find that tweet real quick. Because I tweeted, hold on a second. I tweeted straight up, like, am I the only person who, like, doesn't care at all about getting a multiverses code? Because every single person on my fucking feed, it was just like that fucking, you know, that Dave Chappelle gif of like the crackhead and everything. It's just like, yo, man, you got any of them multiverses codes? Like, people on my Twitter are doing people who aren't even like that like big of content creators. They're doing like giveaways for them. Yeah. Follow and like retweet my account for like a multiverses code. I'll suck a dick for a multiverses code right now, please. They're like desperate for them, and I'm like, the game's alpha.
Yeah.
It's not even fucking finished, and it's okay, though. From a developer perspective, in my opinion, because Multiverses is free to play. And it's going to be free to play on launch. They have said that. It's not like, you know, they're gonna, like, you know, do this, like, make you pay for the alpha, God forbid, or, like, or also even, like, you know, free alpha, free beta, but then make you pay for it later. Unless they just change their minds all of a sudden, in which case, good shit, game's dead in the water. And, at least from lying, like, to your fans like that. And this is okay, because, like, they're releasing it to, like, all these, like, content creators and, like, what's the word I'm looking for? Top level, Smash and platform fighter competitors and stuff like that, because they're getting, like, the feedback from the best people they could get the feedback from in terms of making the game better, which is going to make the actual release game that much better. As much as I love Nickelodeon All-Star Brawl, like you mentioned earlier, that was a very unfinished game that got away with it. Because the hype for that game was fucking gigantic.
Here's the thing. Some games do get away with it. Some games do get away with it.
And Nick got away with it. Nick absolutely got away with it. And obviously that game's not as big as Smash. It's never going to be. Nothing ever is. And, but at the same time, I love Nick All-Stars. I'm not trying to shit on the game. It got away with being an unfinished product because of that hype. And there was no alpha builds. Nobody was playing that game early. They didn't release it to the public early on to make the game better or something like that. Multiverses is actually kind of one-upping them in that department pretty hard. I mean, they're one-upping Nick All-Stars in a lot of ways. The game has voice acting and stuff, like the quality of the physical or like the visual quality of the game is just that much better. And again, I love Nick All-Stars to death. I literally enjoy playing that game more than Smash. I'm not trying to shit on NASB, but the developers... I actually blame Nickelodeon for that, for the budget they gave them, which was shit. They gave them a shit budget for it. But still. Multiverses, I'm okay with them doing this stuff with the alpha builds and a closed alpha right now. Then they're doing the public beta in July is what they're doing. They're getting a lot of feedback to make the finished product that much better. Now, if the finished product is not that much better, then again, I'm going to go off and say this model is kind of shitty this time around. But this is like one of the times where it's actually acceptable because both the alpha, beta, and the actual final game are going to be free to play. Because also, even if, like, you know, just the alpha and the beta is free to play, then you have to pay for the finished product. Who's to say these people didn't get their fill of the game already just by playing it, like, early on if, like, it's not even that much better? You don't want to release a beta when the game is almost done. That's part of why I just don't like that practice that much. It just doesn't seem optimal. Just wait until your motherfucking game is done. I don't get... I mean, to me, it's like, it's not a one-to-one comparison with doing, like, focus groups for movies and shit, which, in my opinion, don't work. I think they did focus groups and stuff for the Sonic movie to see what, like, just people who have never heard of Sonic before like, and then ding dong, you have this giant-ass, like, 10-minute wedding scene that wasn't funny and no one gives a shit about and didn't pay to see. You know what I mean? It's just...
probably what made Sonic before that redone.
Before
version.
the redesign,
They probably thought, like, oh, kids will love this. And then
Exactly.
they brought that fucker into that Chip and Dale movie that's coming out.
Dude, he has a prominent role. It's not even just the cameo. Apparently, he has a prominent role in that fucking film. I'm being serious. Apparently, and no, like, I don't want to spoil or anything, but apparently he's the one who saves the day at the end. Ugly Sonic. I'm being dead serious, bro. I'm sure that was worth all the money for borrowing Disney, but whatever. Point is, it's like
metaphorical shit right there. Holy
alphas
crap.
and betas for games, man. That's a tricky bitch. I think it's way harder to get those right than it is to get them wrong. I think it's way harder to get those right than it is to get them wrong, unfortunately. And Multiverses right now is doing it right, but we'll see how they do it wrong later. And yeah,
it's still too soon.
It's tricky.
Point.
It's a really tricky bitch to handle. And I think there's a reason that not many other industries like do things as similarly, if you would. I don't know. I think they can be done right, and I think they have been done right plenty of times, but it really just depends on the developers, yeah.
And there's only a few that only could do it. And we're going to wrap it up, guys, and just, I guess, some closing thoughts here, too. Like, like game developing, which me and David, we are not. We have no credentials to speak of to, like,
everybody called me an old man when I said I didn't care about getting a Multiverses code. They were like, oh, old man yells at Cloud. And I'm like, dude, I never said I wasn't going to try the game. I just don't look like this trying to scum a fucking alpha code.
People are literally pining. Like, what it looks like? That scene from World War Z? When all them zombies are piling up towards the fucking wall to, like, kind of spill over? That's what everyone is doing to get their fucking Multiverses code. That's honestly, like, the fucking... It's like, we should just human tidal wave to get that fucking code. And, like, it's only a few... I don't know. I think the old ways are dead. I feel kind of... I don't know. I feel like... I'm not even a zoomer, but I feel kind of a zoomer to say that. But, like, the old ways, like, to kind of go about game developing, even marketing, and even, obviously, like, just to generate interest is low-key dead. Honestly, it's not just, it's never going to just be how it was where, like, oh, you could just throw up a commercial about Star Fox 64 and people are going to fucking run out and get it. Yeah. It's going to be not only just a commercial, because they still have those, but it's just like, now you need more. Now you need streamers. Now you need, like, these content creators to go out and play the game themselves and show their audience, like, what the game looks like. And then after that, it's kind of like, that's when the interest hits, I feel. Yeah. Like, because for one, I don't even watch TV no more. So, like, I get all of my exposure to that shit on the internet anyways, like, through YouTube and whoever. So, like, at least for us, like, that's the way it is. And, like, and I think, obviously, a lot of these companies, they know that, too, like, going forward. So, like, it's no wonder, too, that, like, especially for something that was around the time that it came out, the Steam Deck, when it came out, that shit, honestly, like, I know people, I don't know anyone who has it yet, but, like, from what I've seen from YouTubers and stuff, like, dude, it, like, people are, like, maybe it is just the hype, but it's a pretty decent handheld computer for what it is. And it can handle plenty of games pretty all right. And so in that sense, it's kind of like, but is it really that good? And at the same time, it's kind of like, I still haven't tried it yet, but
yeah, me neither.
It's like, what do you call it? Like, but it's also one of those few times where, like, I guess, like, the product is like, it was made by fucking Gabe. It was made by his team. Like, have they ever made a stinker? No. Ever? That's the thing. Like, because here's the thing, Gabe is a no stinker type of guy. He, like, I'm pretty sure he's probably taken a page out of Miyamoto's book and said, like, yeah, like, we ain't selling garbage here.
He's criticized Nintendo plenty of times too. He was the one who said, like, oh, when people are pirating, like, shit like this, or they want to listen to your music and stuff, that just means there's a demand for a service. Like, instead of, like, being overly protective, like, just try to actually release this and profit off of it, and then everybody would be happy. Yeah. Whatever, though. We're going on a little long, though, so we're gonna shut the fuck up right now about video games, and tell you guys that we hope you enjoyed the podcast today. Today felt like a fun episode. It's nice to know that we could still like come in with absolutely zero topics. Well, Dennis had one, I guess, that he came up with, but like zero real concurrent topics in mind and really get something going. I was going to talk about other grimmer shit today, but I'm glad I didn't, and I'm glad I was able to just make the podcast what we wanted to we always make it about. So
talked about Jake Soolie for 10 minutes again.
Jake Soolie.
Jake Soolie.
Soolie.
Well, we are done. We're going to throw up the plugs.
Here you go, guys.
Follow us on our social medias if you haven't already, please. We're at
those,
Double D Pod on Twitter.
You like those colorful little buttons? Just click on
I know. Look at them in the Double D Experience 21 on Instagram.
Oh,
Which Dennis has been slacking on. You never post any memes
I
there
know.
anymore.
I know. I'm sorry. I
gotta post some of that dank shit, Dennis.
I know.
It's okay. Don't worry about it. And we're available wherever you get your podcast. YouTube.com/Nintoonist, which is where you're probably listening to it now. Also on Spotify and on Apple Podcasts. On Google Podcast, Anchor, all these good little places. Leave us good reviews Leave us good reviews wherever you find them. That helps with our SEO. And give us a follow and a subscribe on all of those platforms if you really want our podcast to grow. And
I was even gonna say, like, if you're one of the 5 people who use Anchor, check us out on Anchor.
Yeah. You know. I mean, hey, don't talk shit about Anchor. Do not talk shit about Anchor. Anchor helps us distribute our podcast easy peasy.
No, I know. But I'm just saying, though. I'm not talking about Anchor itself. I'm talking about the 5 people who probably use Anchor.
Yeah. Well.
Dude, I'm going to make that joke forever. Even if, like, we do, like, blow up someday, I'm gonna be like, yo, all you 30 people who watch us, and it's like actually like 5,000 people who watch us, like actually on the views. I'm gonna still say like, hey, yo, all you 30 people out there who watch us, we love you. So actually, everyone's gonna be like, wait, what the fuck? As he doesn't see the views, like at all.
We hope you guys enjoyed this episode. We're gonna shut the fuck up and go about our business for the rest of the day. Now we'll see you next week. We likes you, and we wants you.
This is what people who want to play unfinished games say. And then
Pretty
they
much.
realize they get fucked in the ass afterwards. So yeah, guys, buy unfinished games. Support your local shitty devs all the time.
Don't get fucked in the ace.
But yeah, keep buying. It's great. It stimulates the economy.
Buy the Double D Experience video game. Early alpha's coming. Early alpha's coming July. Bye.
It's gonna be $60. Bye. Deluxe version is $80.
Deluxe version comes with Dennis NFTs.